Hello and welcome back to Stop and Go F1 for this, our reactions to qualifying for the Belgian Grand Prix. Welcome along everybody. Special shout out to our members, Dakota, The Joyous James and Robin Myers. If you want to become a member, there's a link in the description. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. We've got all the promotional stuff out the way so we can talk about qualifying for what was quite a fun one and quite a wet one. We saw earlier today the F2 sprint race has been postponed because of how wet it was. It seems to have dried out a little bit for qualifying, but still not dry. Going into Q1, everyone queuing up at the end of the pit lane with intermediate tyres on just to make sure they can get out and put a lap in. McLaren are reporting that more rain is coming. It doesn't really happen, and I think they were the only team who was saying that it would. There's like a little drizzle later on, but nothing really of any true substance. As everyone sets their first lap times, you know what? It's incredible how fast Max's first lap time was. He was 1.4 seconds faster than everyone on his first lap time. I mean, we know how good Max is in the wet and the confidence he has in wet weather driving, but that was insane. That's nearly a second and a half quicker than anyone as soon as he goes out of the gate. Now, the track slowly is getting drier and drier. Times are improving all the time, and you know, you see a few people hopping massively up, and then a couple of minutes later, they're down in the drop zone, just because people are going that quickly. And there's a few drivers who are going to a second set of inters as well. I think Fernando Alonso completely cooked his tyres just from going around. The circuit has been resurfaced for this year, so that might be an explanation as to why that happened. But yeah, some guys struggling with grip, not just because of the weather, because those tyres were struggling as well. There was a bit here where Zhou impedes Max. I don't know if this was actually noted or not in terms of the stewards, but it was definite impeding there, so we'll see what happens there for Zhou. Not that it mattered, because once again Zhou qualified 20th. As for the rest of the people who were out in the drop zone, it was Hülkenberg and Magnussen 16th and 17th, Yuki Tsunoda in 18th, Logan Sargent 19th, then Zhou, as I say, in 20th. Not a great day for Haas. I expected a little bit better for them, if I'm being honest with you, than 16th and 17th. Hülkenberg in the pits a lot. I remember this happening last year as well. Not sure what's happening with Haas. But towards the end of the session, where there's like 3-4 minutes to go, Hülkenberg was just sat in the pits. I was like, come on, get him out there. You've got to go set lap times. And he did set one eventually, but only good enough for 16th place. The interesting one here is Yuki Tsunoda. Now, Yuki does have a big old grid penalty this weekend, so he would have been at the back of the grid anyway. But 18th place is a lot lower than what I expected him to qualify. So 18th place, I think he has a 60 place grid penalty and will start 20th. Unless someone goes in pit lane, which it could happen. I mean, you know, you very well could have Yuki Tsunoda qualifying 18th, taking a 60-place grid penalty. 2 people start from the pit lane, and he's back to 18th. So we'll see how that one goes. Into Q2 now. And something worth noting here is Lando Norris. Now, he seemed to be really struggling in Q1, was a little bit off the pace of Oscar Piastri in Q1, but as it gets a bit drier, he seems to have a better comprehension on the lap that he's putting in and went on to improve quite a bit there. Once again, Max comes out immediately and is much faster than the rest of the grid, this time 6 tenths up on the field. And at the end of Q2, those who were out was Stroll in 15th. Stroll, who realistically, it was a kind of a surprise that he was in qualifying at all, because he had a big crash in FP3, really bad. The team worked really well to fix that and make sure the car was out again for qualifying. When he was on the radio at the end, I think his engineer was like, oh, well, you know, you did a good job considering what happened in free practice. And Stroll was like, it's nothing to do with free practice. We've got issues with the car. It's like, you might have issues with the car, but also it probably is something to do with how you crashed the car and destroyed a lot of it during free practice. Bottas is 14th, good qualifying for him. Ricciardo was 13th, and it was Gasly in 12th, Albon in 11th. Albon just 0.003 off of getting into Q3. He was that far off Perez as well. Perez was in 10th place, so very close between Albon going through and not there. So yeah, good lap time for Albon. Very lucky for Perez to get into Q3. Then, as we go into the Q3, this is everyone's first lap times. So this is our top 10. We got Ocon in 10th, Alonso 9th, Leclerc 8th, Sainz in 7th, Norris in 6th, Russell 5th, Piastri 4th, Hamilton in 3rd, Perez in 2nd, Max Verstappen 1st place. Perez with an incredible lap time. You know, considering, you know, qualifying isn't his thing. He's not good at it. Everyone knows that. And considering that mere minutes before, he's squeezing through into Q3 by 0.003 of a second. Here he is now, 2nd place in this qualifying. It was a real surprising lap from Sergio Perez. Unfortunately, he wouldn't stay 2nd place, because when everyone sets their second fast lap times, only a couple people improved, but there was some big improvements from those who did. Ocon was 10th, stayed 10th. Alonso stayed 9th. Sainz is pushed down from 7th to 8th. Russell is pushed down from 5th to 7th. Piastri is pushed down from 4th to 6th. Norris goes up from 6th to 5th. Hamilton goes down from 3rd to 4th. Perez goes down from 2nd to 3rd. The big gainer here is Charles Leclerc, who jumps from 8th to 2nd place, and Max Verstappen stays on pole position but will not keep it because of the 10th place grid penalty for the engine change. He'll be pushed down to 11th place, which means that Charles Leclerc secures pole position for the Belgian Grand Prix. Sergio Perez will be alongside him. And here's a little stat for you. This is Sergio Perez's first top 5 qualifying since Miami. So, you know, a bad string of qualifying for Perez, but, you know, on the weekend where possibly he needs it the most, he has definitely delivered in qualifying for Red Bull here. We'll have to see how well he does in the race. But yeah, overall, a decent qualifying. Can Max Verstappen win this from 11th? Yesterday, I said I don't think he can. If it was wet, then yeah, I think he can. But it looks like it's going to be a dry race. The pace will be different. I think you have guys like Norris and Piastri. I think McLaren have set this car up for dry running rather than wet. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the McLarens rise through the grid tomorrow. Whereas maybe someone like Leclerc or Hamilton might fall backwards a little bit. There's a lot going on here. It's a track where you can overtake. It's a huge track where you can also make big mistakes. So there's a lot to go into this race tomorrow. I think it should be a very fun one. Like I said in the preview, I'm not going to be here tomorrow to watch this race, but as soon as I can watch it and get back to you, we'll have our review up. So look out for that tomorrow. Until then, though, let me know what you thought of this qualifying session. I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.